All right, thank you everybody for joining us for this week's Conversations in Agave. I am incredibly excited to be speaking today with three people who I just consider, huge giants in the industry and who have taught me so much about Mezcal, about Oaxacan culture, just everything, I should say. So we have joining us tonight Asis Cortes, who family are sixth generation, seventh generation mezcal makers in Oaxaca. He has the project Origen Raiz and a new project, Dixeebe. We have Sandra Ortiz, who has been the person behind the person at Insitu. Oftentimes she's not the public face for Insitu or El Farolito. And she's actually a huge fountain of knowledge about Mezcal. So it's great that she can join us tonight to talk. And then Eduardo Lalo Belanzauran, who is with us from Wahaka Mezcal. And also he'll be talking from his kind of role as the global ambassador for Mezcal, working with the CRM and kind of get that perspective on everything. We've been very focused here in the United States on the impact of coronavirus for the past 2.5 months. We're beginning to see our lives open up a little bit, supposedly, with shelter in places kind of easing up a little bit. And we've definitely seen the impact here on this end with coronavirus, with the closings of restaurants and bars, and just how it's made it difficult for those of us in Mezcal to really try Mezcal. But one of the things we haven't really had a chance to talk much about is what the impact is in Oaxaca, in Mexico, with coronavirus, and specifically as it relates to the Mezcal industry there. So we're going to be forming the conversation around that kind of idea this evening. And, I thought it would just be a good idea to give everybody an opportunity to talk a little bit about what the current situation is looking like from each of their very distinct perspectives. So Asis, I'd love to hear from you, like what it is you're seeing. You've been out of the city and in the city, talking to mezcal makers. What's kind of happening?
Okay, Susan. So thanks for the invitation to have this talk about what's going on right now here. And hello to everyone who is joining us. So I would like to talk about how there has been a couple different realities that I've been seeing here in Oaxaca. I've been living here in Oaxaca City. So in the city, in Oaxaca, in the Centro Histórico, especially in the Centro Histórico, everything shut down like 2 months ago. So for me, having the opportunity to can go straight from the city to my hometown, Santiago Matatlan, that's been good for me just to can just go out and don't really feel so bad just being inside. But also doing that in the last 2 months, some weekends, it showed me what's going on in Matatlan as a mezcalero town. As you guys know, Matatlan has around probably 200 distilleries today. So one of the things that I was very, I was a little bit thinking like how this is going to impact in the soon future, especially when this start. It's been seeing people, some people working in their palenques, and of course some other brands or some other palenques, they also start to take their own secure, closing their palenques, just stopping to produce. And it's been hard to see those couple different realities because a lot of people, especially in the village, especially in the town, for a long time, they think that this was not true or this was just some speculations. But in the end, being available to be in both sides, it showed me how all the coronavirus situation start to affect in different ways to the small mezcaleros more than everybody. especially because a lot of the small mezcaleros here in Oaxaca, they also depend for the small sales that they do here in the city, that they do in their own palenques by the tourists that come into Oaxaca all the time. And also, but especially for that. So don't having those enters in these last 2 months, it's been really hard for those small mezcaleros. And, and I think that something that it's always good is always seeing the positive ways, always see what we can do, right? So one of the things that I really like to mention is how some small group of mezcaleros, some small mezcaleros, they start to aggregate and start to see the way to sell some future mezcales, or also in my case, like also having the opportunity to be in touch with many other people and see how they are helping and see the way they help. That's been great. But in the other side also, just to see how some big companies, they're just been producing mezcal, they didn't really stop here in Oaxaca. That's also because the agave price went down, and they can really do that, but not everybody can do that. So there is a couple different realities, yes. And in the end, I think that everybody has to move forward. Everybody has to look the way to can go up and not really just sit. Matatlan, just the Friday when we was talking, I went out to Matatlan and I saw that Matatlan is just start to have their restrictions and start to protect the village only this last Friday. So Matatlan has been behind everybody else, I think, in that way. But in the end, they also start to take all the restrictions to who can come to the town and have like some time where nobody can come, nobody can go out. And I think that that's very important, because in that way we can just be together protecting and not really having these situations going longer than what we think. So, so it's been not easy. It's been not easy for nobody. It's been not easy for us in the city. It's not been easy for a lot of people in the villages. And I think that little by little, this is just coming to be more the same reality for everybody now. Today, I can say that today, a lot of more people start to have this aware for what's going on and for what is coming, right? Like we still having this moment where nobody knows exactly what is coming. But in the end, I mean, we just have to work together, and we have to find the ways to can really just go good for all these situations.
I can imagine for Matatlan, it's harder for them to kind of close the town off, because it does sit on that major highway that, you know, is the major highway north and south. So it would definitely be challenging, you know, whereas in other communities, it is very easy to like put up the roadblock as you enter into the town. So that must bring its own challenge with it of how do you do that? But
exactly. I think that was, I mean, that's one of the biggest challenges the town has, and also like the connection that the town has for with a lot of people, of course. Not just like from tourists, but also for a lot of people from the city, the Oaxaca city. So yes, I think that, I mean, as I say, it was very hard before, especially in the last 2 months. But I think that today the reality just come, even was behind, but the reality today is a little bit more coming to be the same for everybody. Mm-hmm. And yes, that's it.
Oh. I mean, and Sandra, you've been in the city, so, and you have a business in the city that is very much based on tourism, and not just international but national tourism. What have you seen in the city of Oaxaca during this time?
Okay. Hi, it's so nice to see you again, even by this way. But bueno, the picture in downtown, in the Oaxacan downtown, is really sad, I think. the last weeks, I had saw a lot of small business disappear, like torterías, chocolaterías, small restaurants, no, really, really nice and cute places to drink a coffee or eat something are disappear. In the Oaxaca downtown, the rents are so expensive, and now it's impossible to pay the rent if your business are with the doors closed. Huh? In situ is a very lucky place because in situ is surviving by our savings, all the last year savings. And I am so lucky because my landlord is a gentleman, and he's a really, really nice person. And it's difficult, the situation. All the owners of the small business in Oaxaca are trying to keep the jobs, or but I don't know, maybe it's like a net, a small net, when everybody voice to everybody, no? And this is really nice, and there are really nice persons trying to help helping each other, no?
Yep. I mean, is there any support from the city when it comes to rent? Are there any, like, have they said to businesses, you know, if people can't pay, you have to sort? No,
nothing. Few mezcalerías, bueno, like mezcaloteca, mezcalogia, all the mezcalerías in the downtown, which make a kind of, I don't know, maybe association to try to survive, no? Asking for the government for support, but there is no answer. In this association, we are trying to be prepared for when this thing, when this crisis ends, no? With a promotion of our work, recommendation between us. I don't know. This is the unique way to we think that it's possible to survive in a city that only depends the tourists.
Yep. And then, have you been able to talk to some of the small producers that you work with, whose mezcal you sell at In Situ, or how are they doing?
Yeah, well, at the beginning we are so depressed because with the mezcaleria closed. I don't know where how support my big concern is was about 5 mezcal makers, and he sells to us all their production, and this is a lot of mezcal, and I am trying. I'm thinking about how to spend money to support them, but always there are incredible and kind people, and the customers start to call me and order mezcal, and this is the way that I call support their I don't know, maybe a little bit of support, no? Immediately I sell some mezcales. The first thing that made is divide the money between the mezcal makers, the work companions, and us, no? And this is sometimes it's difficult because sometimes I sells anything. Sometimes there are a wonderful people that voice mezcales to me, and this is the happiness for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, and is in some areas from Oaxaca is difficult because the authorities, the local authorities from the villages close the ways. It's impossible arrive to the some communities, but this is I think a good practice, no?
Mm-hmm.
Because avoid the infections and the propagation of the COVID, no?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's a huge fear that, you know, many of us on this side of the border have in terms of traveling to Oaxaca. And if you brought the infection into one of these communities, it would be devastating because of the age of people and just the reality of healthcare. So, you know, it's like we want to go, we want to buy mezcal, but at the same time, you know, trying to balance those things out. And it's challenging. I mean, and I know, Eduardo, you're in constant contact with Beto in San Dionisio, your mezcal maker.
My boss.
Your boss.
My boss.
On a side story, you know, I'm friends with a mezcal maker in San Dionisio, Don Pedro Garcia. And after 3 weeks here in the United States of sheltering in place, he called me because he was very concerned about what was happening in the United States and wanted to make sure that, you know, myself and my family was okay. And I just thought, you know, how ironic that was at this time that, you know, somebody in a small community, you know, was seeing the news of how terrible things were in the United States. And now I feel like I'm turning it around and just saying, how are things there? What's happening in San Dionisio?
They was very smart. They closed the border of San Dionisio. The good luck for San Dionisio is they are not in the highway, right? Mm-hmm. You pass Matatlan like 15 minutes away and you need to go right. So you have a big space there. So they closed the entry to anybody from outside. So inside of the little town, they couldn't live their regular life, just to taking care of them, don't go outside of the city. Mm-hmm. So the exits and the entries was regulated. So we will be able to make mezcal each day with the employees because we work with the people, they live in the same town in San Dionisio, Cotepec. Mm-hmm. So the people don't go out, don't go in. So we were working in a safe environment. So I hear even they have particular events, social events, but they don't allow to people from outside to come in. So I think the geography finally helped San Dionisio that always complained there was no before Matatlan, right? Mm-hmm. The people stop always in Matatlan, never come forward, and now the geography finally was good for them. And yes, I think the town is. I hear that several people, the bottlers, stopped bottle some mezcal. I hear some other they stopped to buy agave. Others stopped to make mezcal, but the other companies is still doing business as usual. So I think it's depend of the demand of this side of the border.
Has product been going out of San Dionisio, or is it being stored there until?
No. Well, I think it depends of each brand. Mm-hmm. Depends of each brand, but certainly some palenques are making mezcal. Some others are bottling, but it's depend of what is your situation in United States. As you notice, The brands, they are not present in the liquor stores. They are challenged. They are in big troubles. The brands, they live with the 30, 60 days payments. They are in troubles. But the brands, they are present in the liquor store, and they are selling. They are selling the product, because now we don't sell a glass, we sell a bottle. So I think this is the point. The people are drinking certainly mezcal. Finally, after long years of hard work of a lot of people that I can see here in the panel. Hi, everybody, by the way. They work hard in the market, displaying mezcal and teach mezcal. And we start selling just for a little group of people. Now we're selling mezcal to the big population. So the people, they don't know what is 45 ABV, what that means. They don't know what is the difference between an espadino or tepestates at the price, right? These people are buying mezcal for different reasons, whatever reasons are. They are going and buy the mezcal. So right now they say, well, let's go do a Friday mezcal night with me and my family, my little cluster, my little bubble, because it's like this, like we learn to live here in the United States, right? You have your best friends, your neighbors, or somebody that insulate themselves, and you meet in the backyard, and you say, okay, let's go do Friday mezcal, and somebody go to the store, go to the liquor store, and go there, and I see, oh my God, all these beautiful brands of mezcal. What I buy, I don't know, no idea. I never see a program of los mezcalistas, right? I don't know what to buy. I don't know what to drink, and they pick a bottle and they come back to home, and in the backyard they drink the bottle of mezcal. And this is the way that is happening. Because after the numbers that I received from the CRM, so as you say it very well, I'm not receiving any salary. I'm not a member of the CRM. They just don't nominate me as an ambassador, because they hear my speech and they approve. This is a way to say it. And I am also believe in the category, and I believe in the denomination of origin, and I think they will be a really great value for my industry to have a strong denomination of origin. So they open me channels, that's for sure. I have the direct contact with Hippocrates and his people for ask questions. Lupita, I see her is around, and so she helped me to find some information. And what I see the information is we export, the category export more than 1 million of liters of mezcal in the first trimester of the year. So from January to April. So it's a lot, but I don't know, because I don't have the numbers of 2009. So we can read the numbers of 2009 in the website, but they have only annual numbers. So it's not a point of comparison for me to, I can tell you, yes, we're growing or we stop or what is happening, right? I only know because also I received a message from Hippocrates that the big problem right now is with the bottlers. So that means the palenques, 80%, he was very exact on that number, 80% of the palenques is still produced. The big problem is that they are not bottling. So they are keeping the mezcal ready to bottle and export as soon the importer asks. Well, I totally get the importer is stopping the import because they have the distributor don't call them, right? And asking for more.
It's, I mean,
because the restaurants are stopped. All the restaurants in the US are stopped.
Right. I mean, I think that's the, like we'll really see the impact of the numbers once we get through June. Because that's when you'll have the 3 months of when everything changed here in the United States. And that's, that is the hard thing. But for the category, which had, 70, 80% of the sales was based on on-premise sales, in restaurants and bars, to suddenly have to shift over to a retail model is a huge change. And is not easy. And I think, for people who are walking into a liquor store because now everybody wants, is drinking at home, they're making cocktails at home. How do you even begin to engage with one of those customers on what they should buy. And that
in
is
social media.
That's our challenge. That's what,
Yes.
you know, that's what we have to do. But, you know, what I think is interesting is, you know, Wahaka Mezcal, and also, you know, with Asis's projects, like that is where the Mezcaleros, you know, the family is part of the brand and the business. And so Beto is actually, you know, part of the brand. And when you have the other situations in which people are buying from mezcal makers, you know, for their brand, it can be a little bit different in terms of what's happening on the ground, and finding that. But I mean, you know, a question that I have, because here in the United States we have a little bit of a safety net when things go wrong. We do have unemployment. We have these functions that are supposed to help get us through a rough time, as you know, as good or bad as they might be. But that's not anything that exists in Mexico or Oaxaca. There is no unemployment for people if they're not working, right?
It was something that is very hard for them. Is a lot of brands. You know, we have more than 300 brands in United States, but when you count all the brands that we have in Mexico, we are going on more than 700 brands of mezcal, and they don't export to United States. They count it to the Mexican, to the local national market. Even of these 700 brands, several are selling in the Mexican market and in American market and in other markets, right? But in Mexico, they close the alcohol sales in most of the places. Certainly where is more hit the industry is not in the USA sales, is in Mexico sales. That is where the industry is more hit than anywhere else.
Is that something, Asis, that you have seen as well? Just that by closing
Mexico
off.
Is no sales. There's no sales even in liquor stores.
Yeah.
Here in America, we are selling in liquor stores. Whoever brand had the good luck or the strategy to put themselves in the liquor stores. But if you are selling only restaurants and you are only in with my friends on Las Almas Rotas and other mezcalerias, but you are not in anywhere else, you are in trouble. In Mexico, you even don't have a liquor stores to sell, right? Because in a lot of cities, they close the alcohol industry. Beer, even they stopped to make beer in Mexico. I can understand a little bit why they do that, but certainly I not share this idea. But in United States, we still buying alcohol in the stores, and the alcohol consumption growing at 220% in the first month of the pandemic. So just
not in craft,
right now.
and not in craft spirits. That's the thing that, you know, is like, when you look at the trends, it's not happening in craft spirits. It's happening in alcohol across the board. But you know, when you dive into the numbers, that's when things get a little.
Yes, exactly. But sometimes they get you get in their hands of some people. You know?
No, for sure.
So yes, always the people drink Jack Daniels forever. You know, we know very well that the public don't care about what they drink. They want to something pricely. They are identified with a brand for X or Y reason, and we don't know. But that didn't change, Susan. The people don't think craft. It's only a little percentage of the population they go in craft, and this population now. You remember when we start this and we don't find a bottle of mezcal in any bar? You remember that? And what we said at the time, the best mezcal is wherever it's in the shelf. Even if you don't like it, oh man, yes, I want this one.
just to support.
Exactly, you support for drink mezcal because it was the only one. Is what's happened right now in the liquor store. The best mezcal is mezcal that is that you can find in a liquor store.
And so then back to the question of the type of support that might be available. So as the bottlers stop bottling, as there seem to be more cases happening, you know, in Mexico and within Oaxaca, what happens as more businesses start to close? Like Asis, what, if people stop making mezcal, what happens with the employees? Are they no longer paid? Is there government support? Like how does that impact people?
So in general, I think that this is really being super hard for everybody, especially for the hospitality, for the tourism industry. It's been something like with a lot of challenges. I think that the many companies, and especially the small and medium companies, in general, what I've been seeing around me, there is a lot of people with a level of aware to can protect the employees and to can protect everything that they can do and is in their hands. Of course, talking just about me and what we're doing in Wahaka and all the different projects that I'm involved with here in Wahaka and also in Durango, we've been doing our best to can just keep everything in the best way possible. And this has been a big challenge. It's not easy, of course. When I see the market in general, I think that this challenge is not just for Mexico, but also for all the different countries. Having the relationship with many different countries, not just the States. I've been seeing this in the same way in every different city around the world. So Mezcal it's in the story of Mezcal. I think the Mezcal has been always having big challenges in all the story. And it's always been very hard for a lot of people, especially for the small producers. But in the end, today, I think we have a really powerful tools, and it's like this session, right? Like today. Mm-hmm. So just to having the way that we can communicate, the way that we can connect with the people, I think this is the most important way that we can just still make an education, still talk about what's going on, about all the culture, but also all the value that is behind Mezcal. I'm sure that we're gonna go out of all this, even it's really hard. I think that, I've been seeing many different brands, how everybody start to see what is the best way to move forward, but it's not easy at all. With Origen Raiz in Durango, for example, one of the biggest challenges that we had is just to can sell in a moment where nobody really buy products that are more than $50 or $60 a bottle.
Yeah.
Even there is some sales of Mezcal. All the sales of Mezcal, I think, is more in products that are on the $30s or $40. More than that is really, really hard. So that's a big challenge. And more of the small mezcaleros, they produce high quality of Mezcal. Their products are more than $40 or $50. So it's another challenge right there. So it's just a lot of work that we have to do. It's a lot of more. But I think there is also like, I want to be the positive way. Just having this media, this way to can talk and just give more information. I've been seeing how taking this time, it's good to can put more information there. It's good to can just having a moment to talk with all the distributors, to talking with all the different online shops, and start to upload more information, more pictures, more of the real information that is behind the different products, right? Mm-hmm. For Origen Raiz, another big challenge is that, the bottling or the labeling didn't really stop as a rule. It is more because there is no orders. Everything stopped really. And even like there was some orders, everybody's just taking their time and also looking for their own business, because this is something that it affects everybody in all the different levels. Mm-hmm. And here in Oaxaca, just as with all the different mezcaleros that I have the chance to talk, it's been something that is not easy with the small mezcaleros, because most of the times nobody has like a big save. Most of the times everybody's still in a reinvestment. Most of the times everybody's still working with what they sell. They reinvest in buy agave, in pay all the costs of production. So not selling in the last 2 months, it's just start to being complicated. This is just coming. This is not happened already. The hard moment, the hard situation is just coming for a lot of mezcaleros, and talking about my family as well, about my dad specifically. This hard moment that just can't keep the production, I think it's just started. If we start to think about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because, you know, the most frustrating part about this is that it's a virus. You know, the market didn't stop because people lost interest or, you know, for any of those reasons. It was something completely out of control, like not because we were doing bad business. And I mean, I know your family had the experience of the last time there was a bust in the mezcal category. And, you know, and what that, you know, you had this success, you had this model, you had all of these small makers. Mezcal was growing, and then it changed. And that one was because of people doing bad business, and that impacted the category for a long time. I mean, your family, right? That's...
Yeah, I mean, as I say, there has been always big challenges happening all in the past. But in the end, something that I really like to talk and I really like to make a point is that it is in our hands to do an extra work to keep talking about those mezcaleros, to those people, to those mezcales. They are not just making a big business, but they are having a hard time to protect the way that they produce mezcal, to protect the knowledge that they have from their fathers, from their grandfathers. And most of those people are in very small towns. They are in like, they don't really have the access to can sell like to big brands or like big volume. They don't have like all the distribution model. Some of them, yes. But in the end, I think that that's another biggest challenge today, just to have like the protection of them, to can protect them, to can protect the category also. I know that today, as I say before, like most of the biggest sales are now in the small mezcaleros or the small quantity of mezcales or high quality of mezcales. But in the end, I think it's in our hands to can just do more education, to use more this media, this way of communicate more and more and more for what the value is, for where the value of mezcal is. And I mean, I think that we always have to see all these big problems as an opportunity to can do something bigger and just go in the other way and just can keep growing this small category, because this category of mezcal, even it's been here as a producers with hundreds of years, in the end in the market, it's been only like 8 years, like really mezcal start to happen. And 8 years is nothing. 8 years is just a lot of work of a lot of people. And I see that it's a lot of people in this panel. Of course, Lalo, Sandra, there is a lot of people who has been working so hard, building this category. And it's been not easy. And it's been not easy at all. And this is just another big, moving to us to say like, okay, this is going to be even more hard, but we need to learn from the past. We need to learn from the past, and we need to be together to can just make our best to can go out and just.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we're tired. We have been working so hard, and it's like, oh, again. Can't we catch a little bit of a break? But it is so true, and we have to, you know, I think it's hard when you're in the middle of the craziness to be able to take a deep breath and say, okay, somehow there is an opportunity here. Somehow something can come from it. A pause, you know, and it's just getting through to that next point. I mean, and Sandra, like Insitu is doing a big new like space remodel, new space, like the whole thing. And I'm sure there was a point where you and Ulises must have said, do we continue forward with this or do we stop this? Like, what is going to happen? So what?
I know this is a craziness because the transformation of in situ is we are talking about and make a plans since the last year, and this transformation will be a start in May, but with the COVID we have to close after this month, and this works was paid since February because we spend the money that is to earn during the November and December season. And when all this thing with the lockout start, we are working with a really nice team, only young talento oaxaqueño. It's an amazing team. And the architect say to us, what do you want to do with this work? And we decided stop with the works and wait to the COVID pass. But the architect Manuel say to us something important. He said, please don't cancel this work because all our work companions start all the big buildings that they it works, and right now they don't have work. And with this, when you work, he said, you put on the table of 5 families food in the table of 5 families, and this work is important for us. I promise you, the sana distancia, no, care each other with the COVID, and we promise is work so slow, 1 or 2 people is each in the day, and this is the reason that we start with the construction. This is for us is a craziness because no sé, the money is so es muy escasa en este momento. In this moment is so difficult, and but the works is goes on, and it's a really nice work. This team make a remodelation with the original walls. It's a really nice surprise when you come to Oaxaca. It's a beautiful, beautiful work. And I don't know, I shocked at the even now, because I don't know where I think make this work in those moments, no? But this is it's a amazing work. The furniture, everything is made by a very young people, and another thing that we think that help some to Oaxaca is I don't know, maybe 1 week before to open the in situ doors, we will give mezcal 5 mezcal courses to 5 persons that lost his jobs with the COVID. Mostly we are thinking cantineros or meseros, no? And this is a 4 days training. The first thing is the pre-Hispanic drinks, because those are basic things that the people in Oaxaca doesn't know. And the second part is the story of mezcal, And the third part is the tasting, the way to tasting the different flavors in the mezcales. And the last one is a visit one distillery. We think with this training, 5 persons could get a better job in Oaxaca. We are thinking in 5 Oaxaqueñan people, and this training will be we make films and up to the platforms for free for anybody everybody can to consult these films. I don't know, maybe these things maybe helps to somebody to get a better job, no? Bueno, we are working in a new different destilados with fruits and agave and the things that we made in our own palenque. We keep working, no? And I am so happy because we always are working, thinking new things for all of you. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can say I can't remember the last time I've worked this hard, like during this period of time. And, but it is the decisions that all of us make. We're all business owners in different capacities, and the decisions of now how we as business owners spend our money has huge impact on people. So, I had to decide whether or not to continue on with a big website design project. And it was just like, that would be money that I would like to have in the bank. But then if I cancel that, then the small web firm that I work with, they lose that money, so it's like how we have to continue, investing in one another in making our business decisions. And it's not easy to do that. So, these are hard, very hard decisions. And I remember first visiting Oaxaca in 2003. And then the second time I visited was in 2008. And the difference in the city was huge, because in between that time, 2006 and the uprising had happened. And so many businesses in the Central were closed. And it is, and it took the city years to recover from that, years. And I hope that it does not take the same amount of time for the city of Oaxaca to recover, this time around from it. So it's, it is a tough moment, where we are. And to take it back to Mezcal, I mean, Lalo, in your conversations with the CRM, has there been talk of what the CRM itself can do or is doing to support producers at this time? Are these, do you know if these questions come up at all with them?
Yes, all the time. For example, they have their own team. I think something that is really great on the regulatory council is they are able to go to any palenque, regulate palenque, they send their people and they look like their job is confirm that whatever is said in the level is really happening, right? So the first challenge they have obviously was the little village opened the door for these guys and trust on them, because you say, okay, they come in to regulate, but we don't know nothing about these people, what they have in their house. They believe in these ignis. they are covered, they are not, etc., etc. So that was the first challenge, is to take care of their own people. So this is a big group of employees that they have, and as I noticed, because he told me 80% of the palenques is still working. So that means you need to keep the effort to send the people to these palenques. And it's not only the risk for the little towns to receive these palenqueros or these inspectors, but it's a risk also for these inspectors to go to the palenques of the people all the time. So I think this was the first challenge. The second challenge, how I can really see it, is about the other kind of works, right? Because they have a beautiful, really nice office. They work very well for the associates they have in downtown, and they closed this office because they closed downtown, so they couldn't have this often open. So what's happened with these employees, right? They need to send them to work from home, etc., etc. So this is the first one. So their own people, and I think they did a really great job taking care of their own people. Second, you need to take care of the producers. Is you ever been in a meeting of CRT, the tequila? It's only big cigars and a lot of money. When you go in a meeting of the CRM, it's only producers. It's the people of the towns, they come into this to take decisions for the industry. Good or bad, it's our producers to really take the decisions in this Mezcal group, in this Mezcal association. You see some owners, but most of the time they are the producers to come, and this is the big majority. So that is the thing. How can I support all these people, me as a regulatory council, right? So I know that the way that again they did is to give them the attention, to say, hey, I am preparing a lot of mezcal, and I need, or I will open a barrel, or I will open a reposado, or whatever. I need you to send me the people, and they are able to send the people in time for these customers can sign a contract or send the mezcal wherever they need to sell it, right? I think this is the way that, and I talking in my experience, in my conversations with them, because again, I'm not work for them, and I'm not the speaker. I'm not the official speaker of them. So whatever I say in my opinion, right? But I have a good contact with them, and I talk often, and it's what I see is they have to make the effort to be wherever the mezcalero, the bottler, the importer, the exporter are. You know, if I am export a beer, a pallet to United States tomorrow because they need it after tomorrow, right? So regulatory council have all this paper in time for the producer he can import or export. So I think this is the way that they are doing, and in my experience as Wahaka Mezcal, they are doing a great job. When I needed, they were there.
I think that's, it's something that we don't think about, is that mezcal still has to get certified. So how does that happen in its environment? So
yes, exactly. They have to be certified, and this is one of the bigger challenges that I have in my work, is explain to the people what's going on, because everybody compare with tequila, and scandals going in certain gossip places, right? And they are not informed, etc., etc. So we have a lot of work to do to let the people know how the transparency in mezcal is working, and how that's happened. Because these guys, obviously we can do better, everybody can do better, but these guys are doing an amazing job for a new industry. You're just thinking about when they born in 1994 maybe, and now how they are able to have 5 million of liters of mezcal certified going out of all around the world.
Yeah,
right. So this is a big job, and they can do better. Yes, they can do better. Everybody can do better, right?
Well, I mean, hopefully that's what this pause enables us to do, is to think through this. And I know Asis, from talking to you about your new project, this is something you have put a great deal of thought into, and how to approach it and go forward. And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about just how you came to Dixeebe, the new brand you're working on, and just the purpose of that, of putting this new mezcal brand out into the world.
Yeah, I think this is doing that for me in the middle of all this situation. It's not easy, of course, and I was not really looking to launching a new brand. More or less, I was just presenting the way my family and me, we are just continuous representing what we've been doing for a really long time. And as I said before, like this has been a continuous work and continuous challenges that every year and not year, but I think that every time it's happening, and it shows how the work to build this category and the work to represent mezcal, it's not easy at all. It's not easy in any different way. This is something that we need to understand, that once we are involved in mezcal, this is going to be for life. You know, like this is coming to match your life. And I mean, the first example of everything, I think, is just planting one agave, or just planting an agave. You already know the minimum time for one agave to grow and get mature is going to be around 7 years. And just if you think about that, like that's basically what mezcal is in general. So just having this time, as I say before, like when I say we need to see the way that this give us opportunity, or for say it some way, how we have the time to think, the time to can just, okay, take a moment and see what's going on and see what's happening and see how the category was running so crazy in the last 8 years, because it's been crazy, the speed that the category is just growing, and the different ways that many other brands or companies are just taking. And I mean, I just remember like 10, 12 years ago, when the group of mezcaleros or the group of brands, we was just like couple, like all a small group of people trying to push a brand or trying to push a category. And everybody was always doing these comments of, oh, we love how mezcaleros are coming together. This is not happening in another industry. Like all mezcaleros always like close and doing this together. That's not the same story today. And it's only been 8 or 10 years. Yeah. That's not the same story anymore. There is a lot of groups coming separate now. So just having this moment to can talk about Dixeebe, I think it's just, it's not easy. It's not like, oh yes, I have a new brand. It's not like that. It was just the moment. I took the moment to do it. But in the end, this has been like for a really long time behind us, behind my dad, behind my family. And I just have in my hands the compromise to continue honoring that, to continue working in that today and tomorrow and the day after. And this is, I mean, I have to accept, and we have to accept that the challenges are there all the time. And we need to be available to accept them and see, I mean, and see always the best way to have to work more, because as I say, this is such a small category and there is a lot more work to do. Even it's hard to say and even it's hard to accept it sometimes. We need to accept it by the experience and the story that we have behind us.
Yeah, it is very true. I mean, I think it's time for us to open up to some Q&A here for folks out in the world. I know questions that are going to come up is how can we help here in the United States? What can we do? I always say continue buying mezcal, continue trying different mezcals. I think that that's an important way of being engaged in conversations. And whenever we are able to find different specific projects for people to support, we certainly, put the information out on that, we being Mezcalistas. But people out there in the audience, what questions do you have for folks here? Everybody jump in at once. I think it's hard, it's absorbing all of the information, and then just trying to wrap our minds around all of this. Well, Sandra, what do you think is one way, people here can help? What can we here in the United States do to help either producers or businesses out in Oaxaca?
That is so complicated. I think the first thing is buy mezcales. Don't stop to buy mezcales, good mezcales. This is the way that we help all the people behind the brands, the small producers. It doesn't important which brand or which mezcal. The important is drink and buy mezcal. No? This is the first thing. And then I think when the borders and opens and this thing about the COVID over, pues please come to Oaxaca, come to Mexico, drink mezcal in our mezcalerias, in the palenques, no? When this thing is safe, obviously, but please don't stop to come to Mexico, to Oaxaca, and don't stop to drink mezcal. It's not important which brand or which mezcal maker or if with label or without label. This is not important. The important is help us drinking mezcal.
And also, Sandra, for you, a question from Adrián Martínez, que dice, hola Sandra, ¿de qué manera se puede apoyar el programa de entrenamiento que mencionaste? And so the question being, how can we help support your training program?
Okay, bueno, in here we decide made this program alone because I think it's important when we have to hard work to choose these five people. It's important choose that persons interested in the mezcal and with these characteristics. And with these characteristics we are talking before, and we prefer make this alone because it's more clear, I think. No, I think this is the first time. If this thing works, maybe the next year we choose another five persons. I don't know what happened with this. The only intention is I don't know, maybe a little bit a small contribution will improve the lives. The five people lives. This is the only reason of that. Maybe if you when you come to Oaxaca and know one of those five person, please be kind with them.
let's see. I know there's a question. Chris Maxwell is wondering if anybody might know about how many people have tested positive in Oaxaca, in the city and in the state. Do you have any idea of those numbers, Asis or Sandra? Have you heard? No.
No. Oh, I'm so sorry, but I don't know. Maybe 5 years ago, I don't see the news because this is so difficult to me. I know about those things about the COVID because my neighbor, she said to me, "Oh, how is your daughter?" And I said, "Fine. Why? Do you know? Did you know anything about those things that the pandemia?" She says, "No." Entonces, this is the way that I have the news about the COVID. I try to don't see the news. Entonces, I don't know, but I don't know any no person that is with this illness. I don't know Asis, but I don't know.
Well, Adrian Martinez just said that there have been 1,186 confirmed cases and 131 deaths. So that's, you know.
I want to say, yes, those are the numbers that the government, they say, but one of the things that we've been talking with many friends is that we cannot trust in those numbers because, not everybody is going to do the tasting, actually.
Right.
Not everybody have that access. And a lot of people, especially in some villages, we know that that is not like, some people are just getting some sick and they are just not going to the doctor. So that is not being very straight here in Oaxaca, that's for sure. But yes, that's the official numbers that we have. Those are the official numbers that we have.
Yeah. And then the other question is, are alcohol sales banned all over Mexico by the federal government, or is that a city or state decision?
Bueno, I know that it's only in the Ciudad de Mexico. Here in Oaxaca, the alcohol is selling. You have buy alcohol until the 6 o'clock.
Okay.
After that, it's impossible.
Yeah, several states, they close their sale, like Yucatan, for example. They sell totally the sales of alcohol, but they think they open today. I'm not pretty sure, it's complicated. Each state, each little city, they have their own rules.
Yeah, it depends the state, depends the city. Of course, there are like some cities or towns where they can sell, but also like when we talk about beers, for example, beer situation in the countries, there is no beers. There are no more beers anywhere. The other thing is, one of the things that we need to think a lot about that, even like some places in Oaxaca City, talking about Oaxaca City, they are gonna open like soon. One of the big realities that we have is that there is no people who is thinking in come to Oaxaca in the soon future. The people who have been talking in the last weeks, some of them are planning to come in November, and most of them are planning to come in the next year. So this is going to be like a really bad situation if people is not coming in the next months, of course, because we still with not having nothing clear. So that is going to be hard, even like restaurants and bars open in the next month. Because most of the restaurants and bars depends from tourists more than from local people.
Wow, that is the hard thing. I had to make the decision that I probably won't be in Oaxaca until 2021, and that is, I can't imagine going a year without traveling to Oaxaca, and that is the hard thing. Okay, here's a Here's a question to open up a can of worms, but given the slowdown of sales, and then also the costs involved in creating brands, in bottling and everything in terms of mezcal, do you think that there might be more producers who will opt to not certify their mezcal and to export as a destilado de agave as a way to keep their numbers lower? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Well, I don't see any. When you are in a state they are out of the domination of origin, they already export their destilados as destilados, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see any expense or any problem for the people to export under the denomination of origin because the COVID. Maybe you know, I think it's secondary if your mezcal is certified or not. You need to try it. If you love it, you drink it and you enjoy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I have the business decision, because it's a business decision to sell mezcal, I don't see why I will stop to get this mezcal selling because the COVID. I don't see the interrelation, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the CRM is still having the service going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
they are working.
I don't see that as something that it has to be because of COVID. I think it's more like the different philosophy or the different decisions that the brands are going to have by their own decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know Bruce Asis wants to hear a little bit more about the Dixeebe project. So if you want to give a few minutes to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, as I say, Dixeebe is the way that we continue to do what we've been doing for many years. My dad is a mezcalero and I'm as a promoter of the category. I've been talking and travel a lot promoting mezcal. And I mean, since the beginning, more than a brand, it's more as a category. So Dixeebe, it's gonna just keep honoring that way that the mezcaleros are being learning by their different generations, and it's gonna respect the way the mezcal is being for my family in the cultural way. Because in the end, in the cultural way for us, mezcal is not just a business, and it's not just another alcohol to drink. There is a big connection with the day-to-day in the family. There is a big connection with the respect we have to the spirit. And I think that is, I mean, Dixeebe is gonna keep doing that, and it's gonna keep honoring and respect that. And I will just try to do my best to be here and still standing up. Even this situation is really, really hard. I mean, we can be here showing us very relaxed and be happy with a smile. But all this COVID and everything that is happening in the world, of course, is pushing, is giving us a really big move in different levels. And as I say before, it's just another big moment, another big era, another big change in the era. And we're going to be there. I'm sure that in the end, all the mezcaleros, they have all this as a part of their life. They're going to be there. They're going to resist because this is just what we do as mezcaleros.
I'm sure that Bruce's big question would be, when are we going to be able to buy it? And that not maybe by the end of the year, maybe early next year, right?
Yeah.
Or just go, yeah.
Yeah, as I say before, this last week it was more like presenting the new, like the new face or like the new costume. But in the end, I'm gonna give all that information as soon as I got it in the months later. But yeah, this is just coming. It's like a new custom, but with everything else is there, still there. It's nothing changed.
And continuing on more fun topics, Eduardo.
Yeah.
How do you have any insight on how the CRM is dealing with non-certified or destilados del agave across the board at this point? Is it they exist in different worlds? Is there an attempt
well,
to?
I don't think they really have the time to take care of that, right? So as we talked about before, they are very busy with all these companies. They are certified and need to give the service because it's what they do. They are not the police, the CRM. The CRM is just the certified body.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they are giving any energy to the destilados. Destilados is a business decision and it's totally outside of the category. So I think when they make energy is when somebody using the name Mezcal, right? And they don't have any, is not any way that the regulatory council really can see inside of this bottle that is really Mezcal. Mm-hmm. That is the only time that I see them spend any energy. But you can see the destilados still crossing the border, the destilados still be selling. We have a lot of friends, they go in the little towns in Wahaka, buy their products for nothing, and they sell it very expensive in United States. And I never see the regulatory council go against that in any legal or any way. But yes, I don't see really the regulatory council really dealing with the destilados, no, at all. Sometimes I am overreacting the social media when I see somebody using the word mezcal and it's not mezcal, but it's more me that the regulatory council. As I tell you, I know work for the regulatory council. I just am very focused on a very my family eats from what I do with mezcal. And I really, as a cognac or champagne, I really want each time that somebody say the name mezcal, they thinking that it's a fantastic drink, mm-hmm. right? So I am work very hard on that, very, very hard on that.
Yeah, I know you and I have had conversations about this, and I always say it's the difference between a capital M and a lowercase m.
Yes,
and when we use the lowercase m, Mezcal, it is to talk about the cultural history and aspect of it. The uppercase M is the certified product.
It's a denomination of origin. They don't belong to the CRM. They belong to Mexico, mm-hmm. right? Because in Mexico it's like that. We have this denomination of origin. It's administered by the INPI, and the INPI is a federative body. So is Mexico to have to allow or not allow to other products to compete, et cetera, et cetera. And that's it. I am for nothing about who have the name or who don't have it, right? This is not my thing. But let me tell you that Mexico is so rich in beautiful spirits that I get a fantastic destilados from Jalisco, from Sonora, even from Morelos, right? They cannot get the name of mezcal, but they are fantastic. And they, at the end of the day, they are roast agave, and roast agave means mezcal, right?
Yeah, it's true.
And they are fantastic. So my other concern that I have, Susan, is one day we will have Tonayan in United States, and they will be devastating. So we need to be very careful about what we drink. Right now in Mexico, a lot of people die. More than 150 people are dying because they drink adulterated drinks. Mm-hmm. And this is because the legal way was closed by the state. So the people want to have a drink, and somebody come in and I sell you some, and these are not regulated alcohol, and they kill the people.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I hope never will happen nothing like that with one of the destilados in the United States. Will be really devastating, not so only for the destilados, for all the industry.
Yes, this is true. But I still hold on that currently with destillados coming into the U.S. market, there is some form of control over that, and that is, I will say right now, that is the least of my concerns for
I totally get
what
it.
is happening.
We have a fantastic destilados right now in the United States, but we don't know tomorrow.
Well, this is why we have to stay on top of it and be transparent and everything.
We need to have a regulatory concept for the destilados. Come on, say it.
No. You will not hear me say more regulation. Are there any other questions that people have for folks here? Because otherwise I'm just going to say thank you all for making the time to talk to us. It's the good and the bad thing about where we are is that the virtual world has enabled us to have conversations directly with people in Mexico that oftentimes we have not been able to have at our tasting events here in the United States, just because of visa issues or whatever. So to be able to actually hear the voices from the ground is hugely important. And so thank you, Asis, Lalo, and Sandra for making the time to talk with us this evening. And for everyone else, thank you for joining in. And as I said, we'll be sending out the link. Next week, we will be speaking with Luis Loya, who has a project with Destilados de Agave in Nuevo León and Tamaulipas. And it'll be an opportunity to really hear about the history of production from those regions, which is pretty fascinating.
Oh, yes, it is. It is. Yeah.
So thank you all. Stay safe, stay healthy. And I can't wait to see you live and in person. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.